The warning sirens blared across the Intergalactic Alliance station Epsilon 9, turning the once calm atmosphere into a chaotic mess of panicked aliens rushing to their battle stations. Commander Noah Adams stood at the command center viewport, his weathered face illuminated by the flashing red emergency lights as he stared at the approaching Vexar warship's massive, spine-covered vessels that looked like monstrous sea urchins drifting through the void of space. "They've breached our outer defensive perimeter," reported Xylith, a tall, blue-skinned Arcturian with 4 arms working simultaneously across different control panels. "Shields at 68% and falling." Noah nodded grimly. 6 months ago, he'd been a simple xenobiologist on Earth, studying alien microorganisms. Now he was the only human on a space station of 17 different alien species, facing what could be their last stand against the Vexar, a ruthless species bent on consuming all resources in their path. "Commander Trelk wants all section leaders in the war room immediately," said Morven, a stocky reptilian Dravik whose scales flashed amber with stress. Noah followed the Dravik through winding corridors where crew members from a dozen worlds prepared for battle. Some had tentacles, others had exoskeletons, a few floated on hover platforms, but all shared the same look of dread. The war room was already crowded when they arrived. Commander Trelk, a massive 8-foot-tall insectoid with compound eyes that reflected the holographic battle display, nodded at Noah's entrance. "The Vexar fleet outnumbers us 3-1. Trelk's mandibles clicked as he spoke, his translator converting the sounds into standard galactic. "Our long-range weapons have minimal effect on their bio-organic hulls. We need to disable their command ship before they deploy their boarding parties." The hologram shifted, showing a weakness in the Vexar formation, a narrow channel that led directly to their command vessel. "We need a strike team," Trelk continued. "A small craft might slip through their defenses here." He pointed a clawed appendage at the display, "but it would face heavy fire. The pilot would need to manually navigate through their defensive grid. Our simulations show a 92% casualty rate." Silence fell over the room. Noah studied the display, calculating trajectories and defense patterns in his head. "They're using a standard Vexar phalanx formation," he said, stepping forward. "I've studied their attack patterns. There's a blind spot in their sensor array that cycles every 4.3 minutes. Every alien eye in the room turned to him. "Even with knowledge of the blind spot, someone would need to pilot the strike craft," said Grell, a gelatinous Morphan whose translucent body pulsed with nervous energy. "The G-forces alone would crush most of our species." Trelk surveyed the room. "We need volunteers. Who will lead the charge?" No one moved. The Arcturian's respiratory sacs inflated with anxiety. The Dravok's scales dimmed to a worried gray. The Morphin's bodies rippled with uncertainty. Noah didn't wait for the uncomfortable silence to stretch any longer. He was already walking toward the door. "Where are you going, human?" Trelk called after him. "To the hangar bay," Noah replied without turning back. "Someone needs to fly that mission." "But the casualty projections," Xylith started. "I'm aware of the odds," Noah cut her off. "But we're out of time and options." Every alien in the room stared as the human continued walking forward, his determined stride never faltering. "I don't understand," whispered Grell to Morven. "His species isn't known for advanced piloting skills. Why would he volunteer?" Morven watched the human disappear through the doorway. "I don't know. They're strange creatures." Trelk's compound eyes narrowed. "Security Chief Kriex, go with him. Make sure he doesn't crash our last strike craft before even leaving the hangar." The hulking Brontari nodded and lumbered after Noah, his 4 massive legs carrying his armored body with surprising speed. In the hangar bay, Noah was already climbing into the Phantom, a sleek interceptor designed for speed and stealth rather than heavy firepower. Its neural interface was calibrated for Arcturian pilots, whose 4 arms and split brain functions made them ideal for complex flight maneuvers. "Human, this craft is not designed for your physiology," Kriex rumbled as he entered the hangar. "The neural load alone could cause a cerebral hemorrhage." Noah continued his pre-flight checks, then recalibrated. "We have about 20 minutes before the Vexar are in boarding range." "Why are you doing this?" Kriex asked, genuine confusion in his deep voice. "Your contract with the Alliance doesn't require suicide missions." Noah paused, hands hovering over the control panel. My planet is 80 light-years from here. If the Vexar take this station, they'll have access to the quantum gate network. Earth has no defenses against them. So it's self-preservation. Kriex nodded, his understanding restored. No, Noah shook his head. It's because I've spent 6 months living and working with everyone on this station. You're not just colleagues. You're my friends. And friends don't let friends face extinction if they can help it. Kriex stared at him for a long moment, then moved to the craft's neural calibration console. I will adjust the interface. It will still be painful, but perhaps not immediately fatal. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Noah replied with a grim smile. Word spread quickly through the station. By the time the Phantom was ready for launch, the hangar was filled with aliens from every section, watching in silence as Noah completed his final preparations. The neural interface nodes were attached to his temples, causing a constant dull throb behind his eyes. Commander Trelk pushed through the crowd. The Vexar will detect the launch. You'll have approximately 12 seconds before they target you. Noah nodded, feeling sweat beading on his forehead despite the environmental controls. I've studied the approach. If I time it right with the blind spot cycling, I can get close enough to deliver the EMP warhead to their command ship's propulsion array. And then? Trelk asked. Noah met his compound gaze steadily. Then I try to get out before it detonates. The probability of successful extraction is, I know the odds. Noah cut him off. But humans have a saying. Never tell me the odds. Trelk's mandibles twitched in what might have been the insectoid equivalent of a smile. Your species continues to surprise me, Noah Adams. He extended one of his clawed appendages. May your ancestors guide your path. Noah shook the alien's claw, then climbed into the cockpit. As the canopy sealed, he saw the gathered aliens step back, many performing gestures of respect or protection from their various cultures. Phantom ready for launch, he reported, his voice sounding steadier than he felt. Opening bay doors in 3, 2, 1, came the control room's response. The vacuum of space greeted him as the Phantom shot from the hangar, its engines flaring bright against the darkness. Immediately, his neural interface lit up with warnings as the Vexar defense grid registered his presence. Pain lanced through his skull as the neural load exceeded human parameters, but Noah gritted his teeth and pushed through it. The Phantom responded to his thoughts, banking sharply as the first wave of Vexar energy weapons streaked past. They've spotted you. Xylith's voice came through the comm, blind spot cycling in 20 seconds. Noah rolled the craft, narrowly avoiding a cluster of automated defense drones. His vision blurred momentarily as the neural interface struggled to maintain connection with his mind. 10 seconds to blind spot, Xylith counted down. The massive Vexar fleet loomed ahead, their bio-organic ships pulsing with an eerie internal light. Noah could see the narrow gap in their formation that led to the command ship a gap, now closing as they reacted to his approach. Blind spot active. Now, Noah pushed the Phantom into a dive that would have caused a blackout in normal flight. The neural interface bypassed his physical limitations, letting him maintain consciousness through maneuvers that should have been impossible for a human pilot. For 4.3 precious seconds, the Vexar targeting systems lost track of him. He shot through the gap in their formation, rolling and weaving through a maze of sensor arrays and defense turrets. Blood trickled from his nose as the neural load intensified. Warning lights flashed across his display as the Phantom system struggled to keep up with his commands. Command ship in range, he gasped, fighting to stay conscious. Preparing EMP delivery. The Vexar command vessel filled his view screen, a monstrous construct of bio-organic technology, bristling with weapons and surrounded by smaller escort craft. Their blind spot is cycling back in 30 seconds, Xylith warned. You need to deliver the payload and get clear. Noah targeted the propulsion array, a cluster of pulsating energy nodes at the rear of the massive ship. The EMP warhead was designed to disrupt the Vexar's unique bio-electrical systems, temporarily paralyzing their ships without destroying them outright. Target locked, he reported, his voice strained. Deploying EMP in 3, 2, 1. The warhead launched, streaking toward the command ship. Almost immediately, the Vexar defenses tracked the projectile, but it was too late. The warhead attached to the propulsion array. Warhead delivered. I'm getting out of here, Noah announced, banking the Phantom away from the command ship. But the Vexar weren't going to let him escape so easily. A barrage of energy weapons tracked his retreat, and the neural interface screamed warnings as the Phantom took hit after hit. Shields failing, Noah reported, tasting blood in his mouth as he pushed the craft beyond its limits. Not sure I can clear the blast radius. You need to get at least 10,000 kilometers clear. Xylatha's voice was tight with concern. The EMP will fry your systems too. Noah checked his distance calculator. 8,000 kilometers and counting. The Phantom shuddered as another blast clipped its wing. 7 seconds to detonation. Came Trelk's voice. All ships, prepare for electromagnetic pulse. 5,000 kilometers clear. Not enough. Noah diverted power from life support to engines, giving the Phantom one final burst of speed. His vision darkened at the edges as oxygen levels dropped. 3, 2, 1. A blinding flash erupted behind him as the EMP detonated. The shockwave hit the Phantom like a physical blow, sending it tumbling end over end. Noah's neural interface went dead, along with every system on the ship. In an instant, he was adrift in a powerless craft, spinning through space with no control. The last thing he saw before losing consciousness was the Vexar command ship, now dark and motionless, listing to one side as its bio-electrical systems failed. Noah awoke to the steady beep of medical equipment. His head throbbed with an intensity that made him wince as he tried to open his eyes. "The human is regaining consciousness," came a soft, melodic voice he recognized as belonging to Dr. Alara, the station's head physician, a willowy Silurian with iridescent skin. "Neural activity stabilizing," reported another voice. "Remarkable recovery considering the interface overload." Noah managed to open his eyes, blinking against the bright lights of the medical bay. Dr. Alara stood over him, her large, pupil-less eyes studying his vital signs. "How?" His voice was a dry rasp. "How did I get back?" "Kriex led a rescue team in an armored transport," she explained, adjusting something on his foredrip. "They recovered your craft after the EMP effects dissipated. You had severe neural trauma, 3 broken ribs from the shockwave impact, and significant radiation exposure." Noah tried to sit up, but was gently pressed back down. "The Vexar?" he asked. "Their fleet was disabled for 26 minutes, came Commander Trelk's voice as the insectoid entered the medical bay. "Long enough for Alliance reinforcements to arrive through the quantum gate. The Vexar have retreated to the outer rim." Relief washed over Noah, momentarily overriding his pain. "So we won." "We did," Trelk confirmed, moving to stand beside the bed. "Thanks to your actions." Noah shook his head slightly, immediately regretting the movement as pain shot through his skull. "I just saw an opening and took it." "That is precisely what confuses us," Trelk said, his compound eyes reflecting the medical bay lights. "When I asked who would lead the charge, every alien in that room calculated the risks, weighed their personal survival against the mission's importance. Yet you were already walking toward danger without hesitation." "It's not that complicated," Noah said. "Someone had to do it." "But why you?" asked Dr. Alara as she administered another dose of pain medication. "Your species is physically more fragile than many on this station. Your neural architecture isn't compatible with our flight systems. By all logical assessments, you were the least suitable candidate." Noah was quiet for a moment, considering her words. "Humans have a long history of doing things we're not supposed to be capable of, especially when others are counting on us." "Fascinating." Trelk's mandibles moved in contemplation. "Is this why Earth has managed to survive so many natural disasters and conflicts?" "This. Illogical courage. We call it many things," Noah said, feeling the medication beginning to dull his pain. "Courage, stubbornness, foolhardiness. Sometimes the line between them is pretty thin." Trelk made a chirping sound that the translator didn't catch, perhaps a laugh or expression of disbelief. "Well, whatever you call it, the Alliance owes you a debt. When you recover, there will be a formal commendation." Noah nodded, his eyelids growing heavy. "Just glad it worked." As he drifted back to sleep, he heard Trelk and Dr. Alara continuing their conversation. "I've studied 17 sentient species," Dr. Alara was saying, "and I still don't understand humans." "Perhaps," Trelk replied. That is precisely what makes them valuable allies. Recovery was slow. The neural interface had left microscopic lesions throughout Noah's brain that required specialized treatment. 2 weeks after the battle, he was finally allowed to leave the medical bay, though still restricted to light duties. The station had changed in his absence. Repair crews worked around the clock to fix damage from the Vexar attack, but there was a new energy in the air, a sense of confidence that hadn't been there before. Noah made his way to the observatory deck, a circular room with transparent walls that offered a panoramic view of space. Alliance ships now patrolled the sector, their sleek forms occasionally visible as they passed the station. "I thought I might find you here," came Xylith's voice as the Arcturian entered the observatory. "You missed the celebration." "I heard it was quite the party," Noah smiled, turning to face her. "Four-armed bartenders must make some impressive cocktails." Xylith's skin flushed a deeper blue in what Noah had learned was the Arcturian equivalent of a smile. Several species required medical attention after attempting to consume human alcoholic beverages. "Your biochemistry is surprisingly resilient. One of our few evolutionary advantages," Noah chuckled, then winced as the movement sent a twinge of pain through his still healing ribs. Xylith moved to stand beside him, all four of her arms clasped behind her back in a formal posture. "The Alliance High Command has reviewed the battle records. They were impressed by your actions." Noah shrugged. "I just did what needed to be done." "That is precisely what they found remarkable," she said. "Most species require extensive training to override their self-preservation instincts. Yet please don't say humans are special or different," Noah interrupted. "We're not. We're just as afraid as anyone else." Xylith tilted her head, studying him. "Then why did you volunteer for what was effectively a suicide mission?" Noah was quiet for a moment, looking out at the stars. "There's an old Earth story about a village threatened by a monster. When the villagers gather to decide who will confront it, they spend so long arguing that the monster attacks anyway. The moral is that sometimes action, even imperfect action, is better than perfect inaction." "Your species has strange wisdom," Xylith observed. "Hard-earned wisdom," Noah corrected. "We've made plenty of mistakes along the way." Their conversation was interrupted as Commander Trelk entered the observatory, accompanied by several high-ranking Alliance officers Noah didn't recognize. "Commander Adams," Trelk greeted him, using the temporary rank Noah had been given for the duration of the crisis. "May I present Admiral Vorn of the Alliance fleet." A tall, silver-skinned being stepped forward, regarding Noah with eyes that seemed to shift color with each blink. "So this is the human who disabled a Vexar command ship with a craft he wasn't physiologically designed to pilot." Noah straightened as much as his injuries allowed. "I had excellent support from the station crew, Admiral." Vorn made a dismissive gesture with one long-fingered hand. "Modesty is unnecessary, Commander. The Alliance has been monitoring humanity's development for some time, but your actions have accelerated certain timetables." "What timetables?" Noah asked, suddenly wary. "Earth was scheduled for first contact in approximately 15 years, Trelk explained. After your species had achieved reliable interplanetary travel within your own solar system." Noah felt a chill run down his spine. "And now?" Admiral Vorn's color-shifting eyes fixed on him. "Now the Alliance Council believes humanity may be ready sooner. Your actions demonstrated qualities the Alliance values highly." "One human's actions don't represent an entire species," Noah protested. "On the contrary," Vorn replied, "our research suggests your behavior, while exceptional, is not unique among humans. Your historical records are filled with individuals who place themselves at risk for others, often against overwhelming odds." Noah wasn't sure how to feel about this. He'd been selected for the xenobiology program because of his adaptability and diplomatic skills, not as a representative for all of humanity. "What does this mean exactly?" he asked. Trelk and Vorn exchanged glances. "The Alliance is proposing an accelerated integration program," Trelk said, "beginning with a formal diplomatic mission to Earth within the next solar cycle." Noah's mind raced with the implications. Humanity wasn't ready for open contact with advanced alien civilizations. The cultural, religious, and political shock would be enormous. "That's too soon," he said firmly. "Earth is still divided by nationalism, religious conflicts, and resource disputes. First contact now could destabilize our entire civilization. Admiral Vorn seemed surprised by his objection. You would deny your species the benefits of Alliance membership? Advanced medical technology, clean energy, faster than light travel? I'm saying we need time to prepare, Noah clarified. Humanity needs to resolve some of its internal conflicts before facing external ones. Vorn studied him with those shifting eyes. Most species eagerly accept advancement when offered. Most species probably have a unified planetary government before meeting aliens, Noah countered. We don't. We have nearly 200 sovereign nations, dozens of major religions, and thousands of distinct cultures. Dropping advanced technology into that mix without preparation would be catastrophic. The observatory fell silent as the aliens considered his words. Finally, Trelk spoke. Perhaps this is another example of the human perspective we find valuable. The ability to see potential problems where we see only progress. Admiral Vorn nodded slowly. You make a compelling case, Commander Adams. What would you propose instead? Noah hadn't expected to be negotiating humanity's future in an observatory while still recovering from injuries, but he gathered his thoughts quickly. A phased approach, he suggested. Start by sharing information with Earth's scientific community through existing channels. Let knowledge of the Alliance filter gradually into human awareness. Help us solve some of our environmental challenges without revealing the source. Give us time to grow accustomed to the idea that we're not alone. This would delay full integration by decades, Vorn noted. Yes, Noah acknowledged, but it would lead to a more stable relationship in the long run. Rushed first contact rarely ends well in our fiction for a reason it reflects our deepest concerns. Trelk's mandibles moved in that expression Noah still couldn't quite interpret. Your willingness to delay benefits to ensure proper preparation is unexpected. It's human, Noah said simply. The meeting concluded with Admiral Vorn agreeing to present Noah's recommendations to the Alliance Council. As the delegation departed, Xylith remained behind, her expression unreadable. You potentially delayed your species' technological advancement by decades, she said when they were alone. Most of my kind would consider that irrational. Noah turned back to the viewport, watching the stars. Technology without wisdom is dangerous. We have nuclear weapons, but still fight over borders. We can modify genes, but argue about whether we should. We need time to catch up with our own inventions before taking on yours. Xylith moved to stand beside him. First you risk your life without hesitation, then you delay benefits others would seize immediately. Humans are paradoxical creatures. That's probably the most accurate thing anyone said about us. Noah laughed softly. 6 months later, Noah stood in the same observatory, watching a small diplomatic vessel prepare to depart for Earth. After extensive debate, the Alliance Council had approved a modified version of his proposal. A small team of scientists and diplomats would make discreet contact with selected Earth governments and scientific institutions, beginning a 10-year acclimation program. Noah had been offered a position on the team, but had declined. His work on Station Epsilon 9 wasn't finished, and he believed humanity needed representatives among the stars as much as it needed alien friends on Earth. Commander Trelk joined him at the viewport. The diplomatic team is ready for departure. They've been thoroughly briefed on human customs and societal structures. I hope they're prepared for traffic jams, reality television, and social media, Noah said with a wry smile. We've warned them about your information networks, Trelk assured him, though I doubt any briefing can fully prepare them for the uniqueness of human culture. The diplomatic vessel detached from the station, its engines glowing softly as it moved toward the nearby quantum gate that would take it to Earth. Do you regret your decision to stay? Trelk asked. Noah shook his head. Earth will always be home, but right now, I'm needed here. Because of your scientific expertise? Partly, Noah admitted, but also because someone needs to help explain humans to the Alliance. We're going to surprise you, probably often. Trelk made that chirping sound again, like walking toward danger when everyone else calculates the odds. Exactly like that, Noah nodded, but also in good ways. Art, music, literature, we pour our hearts into creation in ways I haven't seen elsewhere in the Alliance. The Council has authorized the formation of a new division, Trelk said after a moment. A rapid response team for crisis situations throughout Alliance space. They've requested you as an advisor. Noah raised an eyebrow. Because of what happened with the Vexar? Precisely. Your approach to problem-solving proved effective when conventional tactics failed. You mean my reckless human tendency to run toward danger? Noah smiled. The Council prefers the term intuitive crisis response, Trelk replied, his mandibles moving in what Noah now recognized as amusement. The diplomatic vessel reached the quantum gate, disappearing in a flash of light that would take it across 80 light-years to Earth in an instant. Do you think they're ready? Trelk asked quietly. Your people? Noah considered the question seriously. No, he said finally. But neither was I ready when I was selected for this station. Sometimes you grow into the challenges you face. A very human perspective, Trelk observed. Yes, Noah agreed. And maybe that's exactly what the Alliance needs right now. As they stood watching the stars, Noah thought about the path that had brought him here from studying alien microbes in a lab on Earth to helping forge humanity's place among the stars. It hadn't been the journey he expected, but as humans had been doing throughout their history, he had adapted, persevered, and somehow found his way forward. The Vexar would return someday. Other threats would emerge. The galaxy was vast and often dangerous. But standing there beside beings from worlds he'd never imagined as a child, Noah felt something he recognized as hope not just for humanity, but for all the diverse species working together in this unlikely alliance. They had asked who would lead the charge, and every alien had looked at the human already walking forward. Not because humans were braver or stronger or smarter, but because sometimes the simple act of moving forward when others hesitate can change everything. It was a lesson Noah hoped humanity would carry with them as they took their first tentative steps into a much larger universe, a universe that was watching and waiting to see what these strange, paradoxical creatures from Earth would do next.